Hey everyone, I want to clarify one thing before we dive into this video. I probably will never be able to understand properly the issues a gay person goes through on everyday basis. Especially in a country like us where the acceptance rate is not that high. It's very low. Maybe because we have not been trained that way culturally. But I believe that we are evolving and slowly things are changing. If in any part of the video I've said something knowingly or unknowingly which have caused harm to you, I sincerely apologize on my part. My intention is to have an open conversation about some of the things that have been enforced upon people who didn't have a choice. Some of the particular things that makes a lot of people dislike this community in my understanding. Of course I could be wrong. See, we live in a country where it's hard coming out, and that's the truth. We still use terms like chakka, meetha, hinjada as derogatory remarks towards others. I mean, in some part of the country, there are people think of homosexuality as a disease. They even have treatments too, as how it can be cured. The sad reality is that the homophobic and transphobic people will always exist. People who fat shames others will also exist. People who are racist will also exist. People who makes jokes on height will also exist. So the discipline and the understanding of how these small things can affect people and cause harm to others will only happen through education. But that's not what we're going to discuss in this video. This video is about some horrible things that's been happening in the LGBTQ community, and how we need to take actions now. Otherwise, these things will keep getting worse by the day. See, I'll explain what's happening. Okay, in simple words, there is something called gender identity, and then there is sex. In sex, we have people with XX chromosomes, and then we have people with XY chromosomes. The people with XX chromosomes, we call them women, and the people with XY chromosomes, we call them man. Now, why do we use these particular terms? Are we enforced to use these particular terms? See, I'll give an example. Okay, there is some almonds and then there is some cashews. Okay, in my both hands, there's some almonds and there's some cashews. How do you know which one's which? Because we have created a language so that we can all communicate with each other. A man can identify as a woman and he'll become a transgender woman. A woman can identify as a man and she'll become a transgender man. Okay, although they identify as a different sex, their biological sex might still be the same. Of course, there are some anomalies here where people are born as intersex, but the percentage is less than 0.1%. Till now, everything is science-based. The term LGBTQ, lesbian and gay, who are attracted to the people of same gender, bisexual, who are attracted to the people of both genders, transgender, who have transitioned to different gender, opposite gender. Their biological sex might still be the same. It depends if they have done surgeries or not. Till now, everything is science-based, right? So, where is the problem? The problem is that it doesn't stop here. Now there is infinite spectrum of genders. I don't even want to guess how many pronouns are there, because funnily enough, it's changing every single day. Here's a clip of Piers Morgan explaining how you could identify as anything without any need to prove anything.
Is it limitless, this self-identity?
It's not totally limitless.
What's the limit?
When you're talking about International Women's Day, I don't know why we take the conversation about International Women's Day and make it about this.
But if anyone,
there's so many benefits.
right, but if anyone,
to
according to you, can identify as a woman, anyone can, right?
I don't see a problem with
Just literally put their hand up and say, I'm a woman.
But it's not an easy thing to do, to go out into
Actually,
the world.
it's
Very easy. You might think it's easy to say, but to decide to do that, to say,
what is doing it involved?
Whatever that person decides, but to go out into the world and say, I don't identify as perhaps the sex I was
So why
born
can't I
as,
identify? Okay, why can't I identify as a black lesbian?
Well, firstly, I mean, it was.
I'm serious. If I can identify as anything without any need to prove I'm actually what that is, why can't I on International Women's Day say I'm Piers Morgan, I'm a black lesbian?
I think taking it to a kind of absurd status.
I think that's what.
About quite a
with
strong
respect, I think that
thing.
you've already opened the absurdity door by saying it is limitless. You can do what you like. Anyone can say I'm a woman. So I simply ask you, why can't I?
I just simply want to ask, where do we draw the line? There are, people identifying as disabled. We have, puberty blocker for children. We have surgeries being performed on children. There is people identifying as fucking animals. Nothing makes sense anymore. It's like, I don't want to even say it, but it's terrific out there. Look at this clip of, people identifying as dogs and barking at each other. We have these grown-ass adults, half naked, dressed up as dogs and whatnot, crazy shit, look at this. And look, what we got here. A naked guy wearing a Bugs Bunny costume. I'm sorry, a Bugs Bunny mask, hopping with his dick out, which supposedly is a kids-friendly parade. This parade is not for kids. This parade is not about acceptance. This parade is a provocative display of their extreme fetishes. It's a freak show. They are hypersexualizing little children. just imagine, I cannot imagine, how many pedophiles are hiding in these parades. And then they've got a transgender woman competing in women's sport. Her rank went from 462 in men's category to number 1 in female category. Let me be clear. I'm not against trans people competing in sports, but let them have their own league. Transgender woman is not a woman. Look at this clip of a YouTuber explaining all this.
Now we live in this world where we're saying trans women are women and trans men are men. Okay, let's pause here. If we're saying trans men are men and trans men, they're not just men. We're saying trans men because they're transitioning from one gender to another. A trans man is now a man. What does that make me? Because I don't want the body part that a trans man has. And that doesn't make me transphobic. I'm literally relying on science and the actual definition of what it means to be a gay man. I only like the male genitalia. So by telling me that I need to accept that someone who is trying to be another gender, they are that gender, they are that sex, no. That's literally erasing what it means to be gay. If you're telling people trans women are women, and at this point in age, in 2023, to be trans doesn't even mean you need to have a surgery. You can just say you are trans and that's that. What does it mean for a lesbian, a biological woman, to go on a date with a trans woman? That you're telling me a trans woman is a woman. That lesbian does not want male genitalia. It's making me feel crazy. Like, how the hell am I transphobic now by not wanting to be with a trans man? When the only reason I'm gay is because I like men. I don't get it, y'all. I'm confused. I don't get it. I don't get this community at all. These people who are trans, I'm really saying the word, they're trans. They're transitioning from one sex to another. Male, female, there's only 2 options. No matter how much surgery, how much they assimilate, at the end of the day, their sex will always be their sex. You can't tell me that someone with a whole vagina and uterus is a man just because they're saying they're a man and that's what they want to identify as. That's not how this works. That's not real. This is not real life.
I'm just, tired of all of this. We have people who cannot even tell what a woman is.
What is a woman?
That's a stupid question, dude. That's a dumb question.
They can't answer what a woman is. It's not a trick question. What is a woman?
Who identifies as a woman?
What is that thing? You can't answer the question with the question. Define woman without saying woman. What is a woman? This is not a trick question, everybody. You're in college, paying for an education. What is a woman?
How about you talk to someone with media training, huh?
You don't need media training. It's not a trick. What is a woman?
Who identifies as a woman?
You can't answer the question with the... It's like... The college kids of America going hundreds of thousands of dollars into debt who think it's a trick question when you ask them what a woman is.
So what is a woman?
Why do you ask that question?
I just really like to know.
What do you think the answer to that question is?
Well, I'm asking. That's why I came to a college professor who's this is what you do.
What other kinds of answers have you gotten?
A lot of like this, where you're not answering, and I've gotten a lot of that. So
I think it's interesting that you say that some of the people you've interviewed have been reluctant to answer it, and I think that has a lot to do with the questions that preceded it, and the way that you've conducted yourself in the interview.
how have I conducted myself?
How do you think you've conducted yourself?
You just really don't want to answer the questions, do you?
I came today very willing and enthusiastic about answering questions about women's and gender sexuality studies, which is the work that I do.
You wanted to answer questions about women's studies, and so shouldn't the first answer you should be able to provide is what exactly is a woman?
Well, for me, it's actually a really simple answer, and that's a person who identifies as a woman.
But what are they identifying as?
As a woman.
But what is that?
As a woman.
Do you know what a circular definition is?
I do.
What you're doing right now, where a woman is a woman.
Mm-hmm. Well, because you're seeking what we would call in my field of work an essentialist definition of gender. I think it sounds like you would like me to give you a set of biological or cultural characteristics that are associated with one gender or the other.
I'm not seeking any type of definition, I'm just seeking a definition.
And nobody's talking about how 82% of the people who have transitioned have suicidal thoughts, and out of that, 40% have already tried killing themselves. And don't bullshit me, as this is because we've not accepted them, or our generation Z, has more mental trauma. Bro, like our ancestors fought wars, Great Depression, slavery, and what not crazy shit. And you know what? They all had fewer mental issues than you. And nobody's talking about, how there are biological consequences or health issues when you're detransitioning.
I've had 7 surgeries. I've had 1 stress heart attack. I've had a helicopter life ride with a pulmonary embolism. I've had 17 rounds of antibiotics. I had 6 inches of hair on the inside of my urethra for 17 months. Nobody would help me, including the doctor that did this to me because I lost my insurance. I get infections every 3 to 4 months. I'm probably not going to live very long.
And at the end of the day, I'll just be called a hater or a homophobic or a transphobic just because I don't like certain part of this community, this culture. In starting I thought, I'll come to a conclusion at the end, but there is none. The only thing I can say is that we have to stop this nonsense. It's getting way out of control. We have to let children become adults and decide for themselves. We have to just stop these naked parades. Full stop. No, nothing. Just stop these naked parades. The only way I see people can promote homosexuality and reduce crime towards gay people is through education. We can educate people to be nice, and that's it. All these other stuff are only going to create more differences among people and hate towards each other. So this is the end of the video. I hope you liked my video or liked my opinions. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you have a nice day.